What will happen when, due to the dangerous experiments of scientists, the entire Earth is filled with strange trees and from here cities start being destroyed, crores of people are being killed and human life is on the verge of extinction? Then will some survivors come together to fight this disaster? We will also be able to save the Earth. Let us know from the beginning today in this new sci-fi series, the complete story of which you will get in this one video. Now the story starts from the year 1970, where a badly injured woman, who was a scientist, is running away from a special kind of plants which are that he himself had genetically modified them. Now why are these plants so dangerous for us? It will be known further, where the woman herself is not able to save herself but saves her son. Now 30 years have passed since this incident, where due to increase in population with time, humans had destroyed almost all the energy resources of the Earth. Globally, the Earth was struggling with threats like warming and overpopulation, so for this scientist Bill has been doing research on the same specific species of plants for the last several years, and finally he has modified these plants in such a way that now a special kind of oil can be extracted from them, which can be used as fuel. This could have been done, and this oil could also control global warming. Now, it is possible that these plants named typhoid were very useful for humans, but they also posed a great danger because in the last 30 years, these plants have evolved so much that they started thinking about their own life and started using their energy. Humans plant this to sustain and increase their own populations. Now, to keep the workers safe, Bylan has kept these plants tied up and is monitored by CCTV cameras from all sides, where no worker can go near these bioengineered plants without protection. The female scientist at the beginning of the story who gave birth to her son before she died, that son was Bill, and that woman was Bill's mother, and that is why the only aim of Bill's life is to do research on these plants and bring them to the benefit of humanity, where Bill was also able to understand that with time, these plants they are becoming more evolved, that now they are able to contact each other by making special sounds. He records these voices and starts trying to understand them. And now one day, when Bill along with his co-worker Lucy enters into these Lucy, actually some people were against this company and they feel that humans, it is not right to tamper with nature. Walter is terrified for this when he goes among the plants and attacks Lucy first. Bill tries to convince him that this area is very dangerous and they have to leave quickly, but Walter doesn't listen to him and starts hitting Lucy with the taser. Meanwhile, a branch of the terrified plant hits Bill hard in the face. The security guards come and arrest the man, Walter, but Billy gets seriously injured and Lucy immediately takes him to the hospital, where after a checkup, the doctor blindfolds Bill and says that this bandage is not to be removed for the next 24 hours, otherwise he may become blind. So at the same time, another big event was going to happen in the world, where a reporter named Joe was interviewing a scientist on a radio station in which he was telling that in a few hours today, the biggest solar flare in history will occur. What is about to come is also moving rapidly towards the Earth. Although this will cause harm to humans, there will be no harm because our Earth's ozone layer will save us, but everyone will be able to see a bright golden light in the sky as if the entire sky is filled with fireworks, and this is a once-in-lifetime event which is the first in the history of the Earth. This will be the last time, and that is why we will see this view in the evening. Many people were curious about this, where everyone wanted to witness this incident. Then all the news channels started showing this incident live, while on a flying plane also all the passengers were watching this incident in the sky. But a person named Torrance, a person had accidentally fallen asleep wearing a mask, so he didn't even know it was there. What is happening outside here? Crores of people start watching this incident in the sky, where they did not know that what is going to happen next, which no one had even imagined, and suddenly very bright light starts falling on the Earth, due to which all the electronic devices, radio, TV, and everything started shutting down. The more dangerous thing is that all the people who were looking at that plasma now start losing their eyesight due to the harmful light of the plasma falling on their eyes. Yes, crores of people had seen the plasma, due to which now all of them have become blind. Bill was blindfolded and was sleeping inside the hospital, so when he saw this after some time after the incident, when he wakes up in the hospital, he hears the screams of people from outside, while he does not understand why so many people are suddenly screaming outside, whereas his eyes were blindfolded. So that is the truth. Now he removes his bandage to know where his good luck lies. His eyes were now safe and he could see everything clearly, but he could see in front that almost everyone in the hospital had become blind and there was chaos all around. Bill was worried about what all this had happened. But there was another big problem in front of him because all this must have happened in his lab also, and if the same tree-fed plants accidentally get out from his lab, they will start eating the blind humans. So he quickly runs away to his lab, and while on the same plane, Torrance wakes up after hearing the noise of people and finds that everyone in the plane is screaming blindly. Only the passengers had even the pilots gone blind, and it was clear from here that the plane was going to fall down very fast and would soon crash. So leaving everyone else screaming like this, Terrence went to the washroom of the plane to save his life, surrounding himself with safety jackets. He collects it while the plane crashed after some time, so all the people were killed but Terrence was still alive. So now the reporter wakes up, who was saved from being blinded by being inside her station. When she goes on the road, she sees that now there is fog around her. There has been chaos and everyone has become blind here who was trying to understand but the scientists, so he was told that no harm would come to these people. So how did all this happen when a blind policeman takes Joe at gunpoint and tells Joe to drive his car right now and drop him to his house, otherwise he will shoot him? Joe now sees Bill heading towards his lab and he hurries to save Joe. Joe snatches his gun from the blind policeman and starts taking Joe with him. Now after walking some distance, Joe also tells Bill that they should first go to the White House to know about the situation of the whole world, and for this Bill agrees. After walking for several hours, they were now able to see everything on the way due to that solar flare. On the other hand, the room where Voltaire was held in the lab of tray feed plants has been destroyed. Now he somehow gets out of there and finds that everyone in the lab has also gone blind. Since Voltaire himself was imprisoned in the room at the time of that solar flare, he too was saved from becoming blind, and now the rest, seeing everyone blind, Walter now frees those dangerous plants. Terry fights. From there, that is, now those plants were free, which can increase their population by eating blind people, while Joe and Bill had finally reached the White House. But here we can see that many blind people are trying to enter inside the White House, so to stop them, the blind security guards of the White House are firing indiscriminately at them. That is, now there is no government left. No rules and regulations are left and people are killing each other like animals. So now about Bill. Joe. He starts going back towards his lab, but after reaching the lab, Bill gets another big shock while his lab seems to have been completely destroyed and all the tray fires plants. His lab workers Comar have fled from there. Bill Cosa's co-worker Lucy and the man Walter are also seen dead there, who were killed by the same plants. Bill was sad that he had killed him, but he would have to do something soon, otherwise he would be terrified the plants will spread all over the world, and that is why before leaving he starts taking all the research done by him on the terrorized plants so that from somewhere he can find the weakness of these plants and he can stop them. Her father will be alone at home, so she has to go to his father, and both of them leave from here. They start going to Joe's father's house, but they were too late in arriving because Joe's father has already been captured by the tree fight plants, and now they kill him in front of Joe, so that in anger Joe now also shoots at them. But the rest of the tree-fed plants started coming near them, so they surrounded themselves with it. Seeing Joe falling, Bill takes care of Joe and leaves the place with Joe, where Joe knew how dangerous these plants were. They killed his father in front of his eyes and took away his energy. Here they even stopped the car on the way. We find that now those plants are rapidly increasing their numbers all over the city. That means no one is safe anymore, and to warn the people around her, Joe quickly goes on her radio station to tell everyone how some dangerous plants have spread everywhere, which are increasing their numbers by eating humans. They are increasing, so everyone will have to stay safe from them, and the bill will also increase. But Joe confirms this information to everyone, whereupon the two take a break for a late lunch, and Bill tells Joe about his childhood, how his father discovered these truffet plants and tried to genetically modify them. The idea was given so that they could end the energy crisis spread across the world. Although his mother was never happy with this discovery, due to his father's stubbornness, his wife was killed by plants that day in his childhood, and Bill's father never came to see him again out of guilt for his mother's death. Torrance goes to the Prime Minister's office, where he finds only a woman named Hilda. Only the lady secretary is visible, and now she too had reached the end where there was no one else there except her. Now Torrance spends the night here, and in the morning Hilda makes him listen to all the emergency broadcasts, so that now it was clear that there is no government left. All the authorities have fled and all the soldiers are busy defending themselves, so the Prime Minister has become blind and died in an accident, from where Torrance gets the idea that now he can rule this country and all he has to do is gather a group of people and become their leader. Then in the morning, the radio at the station, Bill sees flare guns burning in the sky from a part of the city, and Joe wakes them up from their sleep and tells them that they have to leave because someone in another part of the city has fired a flare gun in the sky asking for help, and that is why they immediately start driving towards the same area, where they also find Torrance on the way. Meet someone who was collecting a lot of weapons for himself, and that Bill and Joe also offer that he is forming a group so they can come with him, but Bill rejects his offer, and when both of them reach the location with the flare gun, they see Joe there. People are not blind, they have formed a community and they are not allowing blind people to come in. Bill sees both of them safe and lets them go inside, where they meet an employee working in the building whose name was Michelle. Now she tells that there are a lot of people in the building trying to survive, and if all the blind people start coming inside, then the situation here will go out of control. Bill tells them about tree-fed plants that are killing and eating people for energy, but since they will be able to see them, they can at least avoid those plants, and for now, they are able to eat them, and water rations will have to be stocked up because due to the worldwide uproar there is shortage of food and water. There is going to be a huge shortage, where the leader further says that from now on, they have to keep the blind people away from their community because they are of no use to them. But Joe doesn't like the leader's statement that they will keep the remaining blind people as helpless as they are. We are leaving Bilge to his fate and leaving Bilge here safe to go to his father, it seems, because he was sure that his father must have been doing research on these plants for the last 30 years, so he might have an antidote to these plants. While outside, an ex-soldier named Coker was helping blind people. The community of this building was not allowing him to come inside, so he was with Coker. Seeing the entire team, Torrance goes to them and falsely offers to help, while Torrance also gives them all his weapons to reassure them and says that we will enter the building with your men and kill as many people as possible. The eyes are right, they have to be taken under control by us blind people here. Torrance's aim was not to help the blind people but to become the leader of all of them by using him and Croc's team. So now, after listening to Torrance's words, Coker starts entering the building from the parking lot of the building with his men. And one by one they handcuffed all the people present there. Dal begins to take control, in which Bill and all those who were caught are caught, and now at the behest of Bar Torrance, Cocher's men handcuff each blind person along with each sighted person so that the sighted people can take care of the blind people tied to them, while the Bill also says that of course Cocher he wants to help these people but his method is wrong because right now the Trawfinders take everyone from here to the supermarket to collect ration and water for food and say that they can buy their partners ration and water collected, but here tree-fed plants had already entered inside who had also killed the people coming there, and now they attack this group also and start killing the people present there one by one, while a plant was also attacking Joe and pulling him towards itself. Hilda was handcuffed to Joe and was trying to save him by pulling him outside. Then Bill comes there and with the help of his lighter and spray, he burns the plant and finally saves Joe, but in the meantime, a branch of that plant hits Hilda and she is killed right there, which is now finally seen. Realizes how useless Terrence's idea was and how no one can save themselves from terrified, so he starts opening everyone's handcuffs one by one, while he tells Torrance that they have to distribute weapons among everyone so that they can fight the terrorized plants, and Bill, since he is a scientist, will also lead their group by default. As it was bound to happen, Terrance doesn't like this at all, and he, not wanting anyone to question his decisions, he agrees for now and decides to slowly get both Coker and Bill off the road where they can find a safe shelter from Terrance. Joko says that all the living people should be informed through radio and called here so that the group gets bigger and they are able to help the others as well, and since Coker had released their handcuffs in the supermarket, Joe now starts to feel that now he too should obey him, and he informs the people on the radio. She starts calling them wherever a crowd of thousands gathers within a short time, and while Joe was busy with the same crowd, Torrance, according to his plan, recruits some men, captures Bill and Coker and sends them to the forest so that he can kill them there and show the rest of the people that there are attacks by terrified plants. They were killed, and where Torrance would then become the sole leader of the group. And now when Terrance's men were about to throw both Bill and Coker down from the truck, before which the tree-fight plants attack them, and taking advantage of this destruction, Bill and Coker take their truck and start running away from there. However, during this time, Some of the tree-fed poison had entered Coker's eyes as well as Bill's. The tape recorder had now fallen on the road where the truck runs out of fuel after traveling a short distance and they are forced to move ahead on foot. Then Torrance goes to Joe and shows him Bill's tape recorder and lies to him that both Bill and Coker are killed in an attack by terrified plants, which is now heard by Joe. It feels very bad because by now she had started really liking him, while Joe was still calling the other people on the radio and the group was growing. So one day the same Torrance also asks Joe out on a date, but Joe refuses. While she refuses, now she has also started getting suspicious because everyone is only agreeing with Terrence, where she also asks a fighter named Troy if Bill was really killed. Here Troy tells her that they only found Bill's tape recorder, there was no body, and from here, the desire has increased even more. It was believed that Terrence must have made Bill and Coker disappear to become the leader, so now she goes to Torrance and falsely consoles him that she will go on a date with him tonight. And while Torrance was busy preparing for the date, Joe again announces on the radio that no one should come here anymore, and here is the most there is a danger because Torrance will make everyone do it for himself. And as soon as Torrance hears this announcement, so he angrily tells his men to catch and kill Joe. But before they arrive, Joe starts running away with all of Bill's things. While Terrence's men were searching for Joe, Troy's Joe is noticed hiding behind a bus, but he doesn't tell anyone about it after the others leave. Rohit helps Joe by giving her a torch and drives her away. There were a lot of trees and plants on the way and Joe somehow manages to escape from them and reaches a car. She starts going to Bill's father's house, whose address was in Bill's luggage, and there is another one, and Bill and Coker now walk to a church where the leader rents Coker for treatment and tells Bill that this small community of theirs helps people who come to them, and they're building also from all sides. Tri-Fight is safe from the plants where Coker is also fine and now decides to stay here. Although Bill still had to do research on tree-fed plants, he set out to go to his father's house. But when he had come a little further into the forest, he came to know the dark truth of that in fact, was trying to save himself. For this, send the people coming to the community to eat near the tree-fed plants in the forest behind she was staying so that she could stay safe herself, where hundreds of people were lying dead in the forest. And Bill quickly runs back to the church where he lies to another girl that there is another community in the forest and sends her to the same tree-fed plants. It was said that Bylan now tells everyone the dark truth of fear, after which the community becomes afraid. Coker was expelled from the church and now Coker was their new leader who would keep the church safe from the attack of typhoid. And Bell now bids goodbye to them and goes to his father's house, where he had just reached his town when he saw the only woman in the town. The two remaining girls, named Suzanne and Emergen, both meet Bill and Bill meets them, saying that now she is alone. He starts taking her with him and after a few hours of driving, he finally reaches his father's house, which his father has surrounded with electric fencing to avoid the terrorized plants. Here Bill gets another surprise when he goes inside the house. It is found that Joe had already reached there. Here both of them were VE.